Congressman Glenn Grothman from the beautiful state of Wisconsin, best cheese curds on God's green earth. He joins us now to talk about the scourge of critical race theory in our schools. Now, he's introduced a bill called the Ending the Critical Race Theory in D.C. Public Schools Act, and he's here to tell us about it. Congressman, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Well, right. As Republicans, we don't like to prescribe curriculum all over the country, but we do have control of the District of Columbia. I think it would be a good place to start. This critical race theory is a cancer on the country. We are teaching young people that America is a racist country, and it's so preposterous, right? All you have to do is look around and see so many people from all around the world. In my district, we have a lot of Hmong, for example, came here. The fact that they're not European, they hit the ground running, learn English, off they go. But we're teaching some of our young people that why even get going in life? America's so racist. We had an example in my district where a teacher was teaching the kids that the reason they were being arrested is the local police department was racist. Just horrible.
Yeah, it's Congressman. It's not academia. It's not educational. It is masquerading as those things, though. And what do you make of the criticisms from people? I watched, for instance, a friend of ours, and I'm sure you're familiar with him, Christopher Rufo, who finally was invited to go and speak with Joy Reid on this issue. And she's, characterized him as being this anti-educational Republican operative. But, he was setting her straight with us. But they say, well, what you're describing isn't actually critical race theory. That's not what I know. I've been writing about Derek Bell and critical race theory and its founding in Harvard, et cetera, since 2011, 2012. But it's insane that this is being excused as not being such. And I think we saw this with the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Milley, earlier when he was questioned by Tom Cotton. What do you say to those individuals who keep insisting that this theory is not at all what it actually is?
Well, obviously it is. What country tells its people that racism is the source of everything? If I can't get a loan, if I wind up in jail, if I don't have the job I like, it must be because of racism. Or if you have a friend who is successful, it must be because of racism. I mean, it's so preposterous, so obviously preposterous, in part because you look at all the immigrants who come here and succeed, and you look at what is being said by the teachers in these schools or in the classes that they give, even in the military. I think the effect has to be to destroy self-confidence in America and say, why do I keep defending it?
Yeah, that's a really great point, because that's ultimately what it's that Frankfurt School Marxism. It's an offshoot of critical theory that teaches that the United States is so flawed as a republic it has to be rebuilt. That's not true.
Right, that's exactly what it is. There's a constant war in this country, they claim, between race. There's a fixed amount of goods in this country, and what you get, the size of your house, the quality of your Medicare, whatever, is determined by your race. And there's nothing you do to escape it. And if you don't like where you're working, the only way to escape it is overthrow the government. We need to start from scratch. And that's what they're working towards.
Now, I'm so interested in what kind of pushback you've received so far from D.C. schools, because this is like from the frying pan right into the fire pit right here. I can't even imagine.
Well, it's a huge problem in the District of Columbia. And, I think Donald Trump got like 5% of the vote, which is almost unbelievable. And as the result, there's an hostility towards anything Republican, anything traditional. And it is a perfect place for the critical race theorists to get their foot in the door. So they'll fight this all they can, but we do want to bring it up. It's an opportunity to educate the rest of the country what should be done, how bad race theory is, alert parents and grandparents to pay attention to what your children are getting in school or even what they're getting in college. And this is the type of thing that in some places they are starting in elementary school. I think it was the Jesuits said, if you have somebody who's 7 years old, you've got them for the rest of their life. And that's what they're aiming for. Teach children to dislike their country at a very young age.
And to see everything through the lens of race, which is so sad to me. Congressman, I was hearing Senator Tom Cotton when he was questioning General Mark Milley, and he was reading these whistleblower complaints. and he was reading to General Milley this complaint of this one African-American servicewoman in the Navy, and she was, had accomplished quite a bit. She was he didn't give exactly what she did, but she was a very highly trained specialist. And she was objecting to critical race theory because she said it's telling everyone to not see me as what I've accomplished and my skill set, but just as a black woman in the Navy. And Tom Cotton was sharing that in different instances, and it was almost like it went in one ear and out the other with General Milley. He just wasn't hearing it. That's not military readiness.
Well, he's brainwashed, right? He's been made part of the cult, which is a shame when you see somebody who's got such an important position. But that's the only way you can describe it, right? Brainwashed. Everything is race all the time. When I talk to somebody, when I look at them, I say, oh, you're Hispanic or you're Asian or whatever, and I don't view you as an individual, which of course is the exact definition of racism, right? They view everybody solely by where their ancestors came from, and it's a shame. It kind of scares me about the military that this guy advanced so far. I mean, I think they should have, kind of cut him off at private there. I don't know he got such an important rank. So utterly lacking.
I don't know either.
Right.
It is scary because that stuff that doesn't scare China and it doesn't scare Russia. I was reading a story just the other day about Russia conducting some war exercises about 35 miles out to sea away from Hawaii, and then of course reading another story about on the Black Sea, Russia was getting a little bit sassy, so to speak, with British ships. They're not focused on pronouns and anything else. They're focused on aggression and readiness, whereas I don't know what we're doing. I hope there's some effort I see there is in the Senate to kind of nail this down.
Well, it's a scary thing as far as our military is concerned because our government looks so weak, and you never want to present a picture of weakness. You look at what's being said at the United Nations, for example. Does this sound like a country of proud individuals willing to fight for freedom? Or does it sound like a country that is ready for civil war? And to me, if I'm the Russians or I'm the Chinese, I look at this weak critical race theory, as well as the kind of inability to manage things at the border. It looks like our government is completely weak and losing control.
Yeah, we've got to put an end to this. It looks like there's a lot of bipartisan effort to stop it, at least in the citizenry, if not in D.C. Congressman Grothman, pleasure to have you. We'd love to talk with you again. We appreciate all you do and glad that you're standing up against this Marxism in education.